Howdy, everyone. I'm from Montana. That's how we say hello, so I'm translating my English for you. Everybody say howdy back. Howdy. Oh, you make me feel like a back. Now, to start off, I want to tell you a fact. Everyone in this room can become a great speaker. And I'm not making that up. It's not a fiction, it's actually fact, it's not a fantasy. If you work hard, you can become a great speaker. And a lot of times people, if I was your age, when I was your age, I wouldn't believe that. I did believe that, okay? But I've learned a lot since then. So it's been a few years since I was in high school. Now, I'm going to give you two examples of people who were not good speakers who became much better speakers. And the first one is with, whoops, okay, now, we'll get this, there we go. Do you guys know who this guy is? Winston Churchill? During World War II, he was the Prime Minister of England?
Yeah.
Okay. When he was a boy, he had a speech impediment. He couldn't pronounce certain letters and words. And so he had a struggle. He didn't want to speak. Then as he got older and he finally had to start speaking, and what he did, they said he was one of the most boring speakers that they ever knew. Then he was elected to the House of Commons in the Parliament in England. And on his first speech, he gets up, forgets what to say. And he stood there for 3 minutes, and everybody in the audience just laughed at him. He said, never again. And from that point, for the next 30 years, he worked really hard at becoming a great speaker. And this guy, the quote is coming up. Now, I'm going to ask you guys to read the quotes for me, okay? Do you want to start for me? Read this quote.
By the time he became Prime Minister at the age of 65, Churchill had become a masterful orator, one of the greatest speakers the world has ever known, Boris Johnson.
The fact is, his speeches had a huge impact on the outcome of World War II. Can you imagine? One man's speeches affected World War II. That's amazing. From a boy who couldn't speak correctly. Right? He put a lot of work into it. Then, there's another person I know that got much better as time went on. But you guys, if you knew me when I was in high school, if you knew me and you know me now, you say that can't be the same person. Because I would never, ever speak in class. And when I had to, like when you're forced to, you guys know that? Huh? Right. Then when I was going to university, I was studying physical education. So in my classes, we had to get up and teach each other, right? So I'm teaching a tennis class one time, and I can't get the words out, and I'm shaking and all that. And guess what? Everybody in the class was laughing at me. But like Winston Churchill, he said never again, and he worked hard. I said never again, and I just left. It's amazing. Once I was forced to start doing it, things changed. But here's what happened. I was taking a class when I was 30, and I had to give a speech. Guess what? I ended up not giving the speech because the night before I stayed up all night vomiting. Okay, so you're talking to someone who was very afraid of speaking in front of people. So I'm talking from experience. You can become great. Okay, just believe that. Now let's go on. As far as, okay, like you already heard what I've done. You know, if I told this to my friends back in the States, they wouldn't believe it. But how did that come about? It's because I joined Toastmasters and I actually learned what it takes to speak. And you guys have already learned some of that. So you're way ahead of me, like 30, 40 years. Come on. So you have a great advantage over me. Now, why? Why should you guys want to become a great speaker? Is it to make yourself look important? What do you think? Because it's not easy to do. Your motivation for wanting to become a speaker has to be greater than your fear of speaking, so that you'll push forward. Well, here's a couple of reasons why you should. When you become a great speaker, you have confidence. And it affects every part of your life, not just speaking. Every time you're around people, when you're going to speak, man, you just feel good around people. You have that confidence. So the confidence from overcoming the fear of speaking impacts every area of your life. Then you have influence. We influence people two ways. We influence people through our actions or our words. So if you are a good speaker, you can influence other people. Your passion can light other people's passion. Then, with that kind of influence, what's going to happen? Opportunities are going to open up for you. I have a friend who works for Leroy Merlin. Everybody knows Leroy Merlin, correct? You guys all know the store, right? It's a store. Well, he started out basic, the lowest position. He was putting stuff on the shelves. Right? After 2 years, he became a department head. And the head guys came from France and had every department head get up and give a speech and explain their departments. And my friend had spoken a lot before this, even though the job didn't require it. But in his life, he had spoken a lot. Guess what happened when they had all the department heads get in front? Every one of them blew it. They struggled with it. He got up and did great. Let me ask you, guess who got put on the fast track for management? Who do you think?
That guy.
Yeah. So if you speak well, opportunities are going to open up for you. What ends up if you have more opportunities? Money. Money, money. It's funny, funny, right? We like funny. Then you have, next what we're going to do today. I can't explain everything about what it takes to be a great speaker, but I'm going to give you the big ideas and just a little few of the details. So take that from this. And by the way, I'm putting together a file, a zip file, with all kinds of resources, and I will post it tomorrow or tonight on the Facebook page. Okay? You guys all are on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
So it'll be on the YLP Facebook page. All right? So download it and just use those resources to help you if you want to grow. Now, the most important thing is something that has nothing to do with speaking. If you want to become great at anything, if you want to excel in life, you have to establish a strong learning foundation. And this is something I had no clue about in high school. No one ever told me this stuff. But when I mentor people and I explain things to them and show them how to do it, they don't know how to take that information and use it in a way to help them become better. So I'm trying to share with you what I think is really important, critical, if you want to become good at anything. First thing you have to have, let's have someone read. Would you go ahead and read that quote right now?
Yeah. 99% of being an expert is nailing down the basics. Establish a basis, a solid foundation, a routine, and the rest will follow. David's already.
If you want to be an expert, if you want to be good, you need to have some kind of foundation, a routine, and that's what I'm going to talk about. So the first, most important thing is your mindset, how you think. That's the most important thing. Then you need to develop a learning system. Then you need to have a learning routine. These are the critical things that will help you be great at anything. Now, mindset. Have you guys heard this word before, mindset?
Yeah.
Yes, of course. Just we'll make sure. So I want someone to read the definition for me. Would you read it for me?
Mindset is a set of ideas and attitudes that shapes the way we think about ourselves and the world. It determines how we behave, our outlook on life, and our attitude towards everything that's going on around us.
In me teaching people and mentoring them, I'm telling you, this is absolutely critical, because if you don't have the right mindset, the right attitude here, you'll never get better, right? Isn't that obvious? But most of the time we don't think about that. So here's a couple things that I think are important components of the right mindset. Okay? Being proactive. You don't wait for someone to teach you, you go looking for it yourself. You have Google. Anything you want to look up, you can study. All right? That's what I did to become a speaker. I went in and looked, table topics. Okay, find stuff. So just use it. Learn to use it. Commitment. I've had people who said to me, William, I want to become the greatest speaker in Romania. 3 months later, they're not coming anymore. You have to be committed to it. It doesn't happen overnight. Excellence. Strive for excellence in everything you do. If you're joining this club or strive to be your best always, and you'll get better. Don't worry about perfection. It'll never come. But always you can be better. Self-learner. Like I said, you can do it. You can initiate that proactive self-learner. It's important that you just make the effort yourself. Don't wait for people to teach you. It takes discipline though, doesn't it? Because it's easy the first few weeks. But after you get into that routine, that kind of rut, it's hard to push through sometimes because we like life easy. But who becomes great? Those that work hard. Okay, a lot of effort. Feedback. When I was younger, I was afraid of feedback. Was anybody feeling like that at all when you came here, when people would talk about you? Okay, it's normal. It's normal. I felt that when I first came to Toastmasters, but after I got used to it, then I really wanted feedback. I want good feedback, not this, oh, you're so nice, you're doing this. I want to know what I need to improve. So always look for feedback, because you want to improve. Now, there's a question. This one is probably the most important as far as your mindset, in my opinion, for what it takes to be successful, especially with speaking. And that is, you have to have the right mindset about fear. Because it is scary. When you guys get up here, don't you feel a little bit nervous and scared and all that? You know? When I joined Toastmasters, I had been speaking a lot before that. But in table topics, oh man, I was like, oh no, I don't know, I'll blow it if I go up there. I won't know what to think about. Can you guys identify with that? Well, guess what I did? I decided, I said, you know what? I'm not going to let that stop me. So I made sure every week I come, I go to the table topics master. Pick me, pick me. And guess what? After 3 years, I became the national champion. Can you believe that? So what does it take? Just do it. You have to face the fear and not be afraid of it. You're not going to die if you speak, right? Unless something falls down from the sky. You know? So you're not going to die. It's embarrassing. You might make mistakes. Big deal. Go through that. Lean into the fear. Go through the fear. Defeat fear. That's important. So we looked at mindset. Remember, this is the most important thing. If you don't have the right mindset, you'll never become great. Then there's having a learning system. Now, what this means is a step-by-step process you use to learn something. Right? Now, in Toastmasters, they do have, let's do this first, about goals versus systems. How about you right there?
Okay. Goals can provide direction and even push you forward in the short term, but eventually a well-designed system will always win. Having a system is what matters. Committing to the process is what makes the difference. James Clear.
Listen, you might use the word plan, but it's the same idea. Have a system to help you learn something. And as Toastmasters, they do have a system. They use these manuals. Have you guys gone over the manuals with them? Shown them? Okay. So you know there's 10 projects in a speech and 10 projects in a leadership. And in the speech one, it takes you step by step through. So each week, each project, you learn certain skills, and then you add those to the next one, and you keep going like that. It's a process. So they have it. So if you're seen that, but for me, I have my own process I use with mentoring. I have a 15-step process that I call the speech preparation steps. That's going to be in the resources I put in the zip file. So if you want to see how I train people or how I train myself, you can look at it. And there's links to all kinds of things in there to read. Okay, so we have a system down. We have our mindset, we have a system, and the routine. That is just how you go about learning things. You have this system, but if you don't do it, what good does the system do? Right? You have to figure out how you're going to use it. So let's look at a quote here, and I'll adapt it for Toastmasters a little bit. Lady in red, would you please read it?
1 hour per day of study will put you at the top of your field within 3 years. Within 5 years, you'll be a national authority. In 7 years, you can be one of the best people in the world at what you do. Earl Nightingale.
If you want to be good at something, you have to work at it. What happens even in Toastmasters, a lot of people, what they do is they cram the week before they have to give a speech. They give a speech, then they wait and cram until before the next speech. That's not a good way to change your brain, because your brain is always rewiring itself when you're learning. If you do a little bit each day, you're going to learn a lot better and establish good habits. So don't do things at the last minute. Will help you much more. And I would encourage you to at least put, if you were serious about becoming a great speaker, set aside 15 minutes a day minimum to work on something. Maybe it's just studying how I can be better at my gestures or voice. But if you do a little bit each day, it's not going to take very long where you become much, much better than you are now. So think about that, how you can develop a routine that will help you to learn. And sometimes it's good to connect it with something you already do. So you get up. Most people get up during the day at some point. You get up, you have a few minutes, and you spend 15 minutes studying. Or you eat supper, and after supper you eat 15 minutes. Or before you go to bed. But usually going right before bed, you're not really learning too much, right? But just figure how to connect it with something else you already do, and it'll help you to have the discipline to keep doing that. Okay. So the secret, the real secret to becoming a great speaker, is taking what I told you, the mindset, the system, and the routine, and focusing all of that on 3 things. Here they are. Knowing your audience, preparing or writing out your content, and then practicing your delivery. Everything you do, focus on these 3 things, and you'll become a great speaker. Now, with audience, when you're in Toastmasters or in a group like this, you know each other. It's not a big deal. But in the real world, if you ever go out to give speeches somewhere, the more you know about your audience, the better speech you can put together. So what I do sometimes, even in Toastmasters, I've used Monkey Survey. If you guys know what Monkey Survey is? It's just an online survey thing that you can do. And I sent it out. One time I did a talk on worldviews, like how people look at the world. And I put a survey together, and I had everybody in our club and all the past members fill it out. And it was very fascinating, and it helped me to prepare my speech better. All right, so you know your audience, then developing your content. Great speeches take great content. And this is the tough part. This is the really hard part of using your brain to figure out what to say. But it comes more and more as you do it. Like at first, I found it very difficult. But the more I've done it, it's gotten easier over time. Now what you want to do, you know your audience, right? So you got that. Okay. So the next thing you need to do is research your topic. Then you develop a statement, like what's the purpose of your speech? What do you want your audience to get out of it? Then you do an outline. And from the outline, then you start writing out your speech. And just taking that step-by-step process really makes it much easier. I've had people that I've mentored in Toastmasters, when I started this with them, they were resistant. They said, I just want to write something down and do it. But after they went through the process with me, they said, man, this made it so much easier to write the speech. So use a system like that. Then the delivery. Here's a key thing. None of us speak like we write. So when you write your speech out, realize that you need to practice it and maybe change the words a little bit because you don't speak that way as you write. So you want to have a speaking voice and not a writing voice. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So practice it, get comfortable with the words, change them, and once you're comfortable with what you're saying, then spend time practicing your body gestures. And here's the key thing. Keep your arms down at your side, and then when you have a gesture, you use it. And then bring it back. Because sometimes you see people that are like this. I call this the T-Rex. The T-Rex move their hands like this. Or the butler, if they have especially this, they look like this. You know, like if they had a towel, they'd look like a butler. Right? And so then this is the one. I'm scared. I'm afraid. Isn't that this motion? So don't put your hands together. Be open with people like that. Then after you get your gestures down, then practice your voice at the end. And a voice really helps to connect with people as far as your emotions. So make sure your voice is not just doing, you know, I'm so excited to be here tonight. Man, I'm excited, are you? See? So make sure that you're using your body, your voice to communicate that you're happy to be there. Okay, now, we have a goal for our speech. There's an opening to our speech, there's the body of the speech, and there's a closing. And each part has a goal. But before we look at the goal, here's something you don't want to do. You don't want to kill your audience. Don't bore them to death, or don't try to fill their heads with so many facts that their heads explode. Right? Make sure that you have it in a way that makes it so that it's interesting for them. So never kill your audience. That's a rule when you're speaking. And believe me, this happens all the time. I've been to many speeches where I died in there. So this one, here's the first thing you need to do as a goal. You need to connect with your audience during the introduction, during your opening. Then you have to engage them throughout. Keep them with you the whole time so they're not drifting away from what you're saying. And at the end, you want to change your audience. There's a goal for you in this speech that you're given, wherever it is. You don't want your audience thrown away the same. You want them different because of what you said. So you want change. So let's look at more detail of connecting. There's two parts to connecting at the beginning of a speech. First is your voice, your eye contact, your smiles, your open body position, your enthusiasm. This is what initially will connect you with people. Because right away, when they see you, immediately, subconsciously, everybody's doing that. So make sure that you come with a positive attitude, smile, like I said, eye contact. Hey, I'm really excited to be here. You see what, can you tell the difference right away? It affects you, doesn't it, as a listener? So make sure that you're animated and just enjoy yourself. And I know sometimes that's tough because it is scary until you get used to it. So the other thing you need to connect with is when you're with your topic. Whatever you're going to talk about with people, you need to right away connect it with them because they're asking inside. They're going, why should I listen to this guy? So immediately you want to somehow, with your word, connect what you're going to talk about with them. Now, how did I do it tonight? Every one of you can become a great speaker. Did I connect with you guys immediately? Yeah. I put it right to you. So connect what you're saying with your audience. Don't go talking about all kinds of other things. Get right to it. And the shorter, the simpler is the better. Because I've been in very long-winded introductions, and after a while people just really drift away. So try not to do that. Okay, then you have, engaging. Now again, you still need to use your body, your voice to keep people engaged throughout. But you also have to have a structure of your speech that's logical, short, concise, clear. Okay? Make sure, and simple. Don't try to make things, a great speaker doesn't make things complicated. A great speaker makes things understandable. So you're learning to be able to communicate in a way that people can understand. And I have an advantage because of that. Because you know, I spent 20 years working with little kids. So I had to really learn how to talk to them so they would understand. But think of every person in the room, where are they at and how you can communicate what you know so that they can understand it. That's very important. Then you have the change. During your closing, your desire is to motivate your audience to change in some way. So what you want is, in your mind, you're saying this: I want to transform my audience into a better version of themselves. When my audience leaves, they're going to be better than they are now. That's your goal. So what you need to do that is make a, oh, I forgot about the quote. Let's see, let's go over here. So, do you want to read that? Yeah.
The purpose of a speech is to move people to action. You point an audience to a place where they want to be, a decent hilltop, a better future, a more stable company, a more connected life. You make them dissatisfied with where they are now and tempt them with a golden tomorrow. And then you've got to show them how to get there. Or at least you do if you want to be great.
So you're trying to help your audience. And I've had people try to give speeches and there was no purpose. All they would do was they were telling their story but it didn't have any connection with the audience. And I said, well, so why would anybody want to listen to this? So make sure that it has something that's going to change them. You want to include some kind of what we call a call to action. Keep it simple, don't keep it complicated, but you want people to go away doing at least one thing. Say, when you leave from here, I have one thing I want you to do. Right? That's a call to action, to get them started on moving in that direction. Okay, now I'm going to share something I did for other clubs one time when someone said, can you tell me in just a few words what it takes to be great? And so this will be kind of a summary, a little bit of what we talked about already. So in 9 words, I can tell you what it takes to be great. Okay? Here it is. Prepare, prepare, prepare. Practice, practice, practice. Speak. Speak. Okay? If you do those things, you become a great speaker. Right? It's a lot of repetition. Now, we already talked about preparation. Know your audience, research your topic, come up with a purpose for your speech, write an outline, then write out your speech, and then practice it. Right? So we practice, and practice to get better. First we get our words down, then we get our body gestures down, then we get our voice down, and then we go on the way. But here's the key thing. If you want to become a better speaker, you need to speak. You need to get in front of people. Does that make sense? Huh? Yeah. But you know what? Sometimes in Toastmasters, people, they don't want to go, I'm not going to go up there. Be proactive. You get a chance to speak, I don't care where it is. Do it. Because what's going to happen at the worst? Remember, are you going to die? No. Could you embarrass yourself? Yes. Yes. Is that the end of the world?
No.
No. Because you'll learn through that, you'll grow through that, and you'll become better. You should have seen, like, a couple of years ago at one of our contests. Okay, I'm a national champion. A couple of years ago, I got into the end of my speech for the contest, and I forgot the ending. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm done, bye. And I sat down, but I had reached the time limit, I qualified, so I got voted second place, so I got to go on to the next level. I was so shocked. But I'm saying, it happens to us all. If you're speaking, you're going to mess up. Don't worry about it. Always try to get better. That's the main thing. Now, here's a quote that's really important if you want to be good too. Did you read something in? Have you read anything?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
Nothing in this world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. Calvin Coolidge.
He was the 30th president of the United States. So if you want to become good, and this applies to anything in life, if you want to become a good speaker, keep at it, keep doing it, keep speaking, don't give up. When you're done with the Toastmasters, the Youth Leadership Program, find ways to speak. Now we're coming to the close of tonight, and so again, I just want to emphasize, every one of you can become a great speaker. Every one of you. Make sure that you build a good learning foundation for yourself. Then, choose to have a learning mindset, rather than just an entertainment mindset. Develop a good learning system, and you can start with what I give, or what Toastmaster gives, and then adapt it and adjust it to what you want it to be. Then establish a learning routine. Figure out how to put some time aside every day to work on what you want to become better at. Focus your study, your learning routine, your learning system on 3 things. Remember, know your audience, develop your content, and practice your delivery. Remember the goal? It's not to kill your audience, right? It's to connect during the introduction, to engage them throughout, and to change them somehow by the ending. Oh, there's one more thing. When you become 18, join Toastmasters. This will help you a lot. Honestly, if I could go back in time and tell my young self when I was in your age, which is a long time ago now, if I could go back in time, I honestly would do this. I honestly would. I'm not just saying this. I would go back and tell myself, yeah, learn to become a good speaker. You know, join Toastmasters. Because I'm telling you what, I believe my life would have been much better if I would have been a good speaker when I was young. Because if you start out now, whoa, the potential of your whole life is going to be pretty awesome. So, be equipped to impact your world for good. Don't you want to do something with your life? Well, speaking can help you quite a bit. And for those of you, if you're not on Facebook, or if you want, this is my information, and you can give it if you want to contact. As far as Facebook, every week I'm putting a couple articles that I find that are really good about speaking, and I put it on my timeline. So if anyone's interested in that stuff, you can. But with that, thank you very much. It was great listening, and I appreciate the time to have to speak to you. Thank you.